Alright, so we found a 1966 Ford F100. Alright, so I just wanted to take a quick second and apologize to you guys. Some of these clips in this video were recorded over 2 weeks ago. You're going to hear those bugs, the cicadas that come out of the ground every 7 years. They're roaring in some of the clips. I did my best to edit those out. And also, I edited the video this weekend, and I'm just now starting to feel better, even though I sound a little stuffy. So some of the voiceovers that I did, I sound congested, what have you. I just wanted to let you guys know that in advance. Give me a little bit of grace as far as the audio goes in this video. Hope you guys enjoy.
Alright, we're jumping right back into another video of me attempting to build my dream shop truck. Now, all the images that you see right here is what I'm taking inspiration from. So if you can imagine these design elements mixed with an old GT40, that's going to be what I want my truck to look like. We've done a lot of work already. Last week we tied the cab and the firewall in. This week we're going to finish that. We're going to get some new to us rims, and I'm going to show you guys an update on all the motor work that we've done. Tons of progress coming up. Hope you guys enjoy the video.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Dusty Mac, and we're building a sick F100 shop truck. Let me show you guys what I've been working on. We got some new wheels. By new, I don't mean brand spanking new, I mean new to the shop truck.
Alright, so let's talk about it. I'm building a wide body extreme looking truck, and these rims aren't really that wide. You're correct. They're 18 inches, and for mock-up purposes we can use some spacers. Long term, I would like to get some FR500s. This will just give me a better idea for the building phase of the truck up until we can get a set of those rims.
The last video, I started welding in the supports to actually tie the cab of this to the floor pan and firewall of the Crown Vic. So I had to pick up right where I left off and make a few custom pieces and get this finished.
We got to close that in.
What I did is cut some slits so that I could bend this thing to the exact shape that I want it. As you can see, it's got 2 bends in it, and I used the bead roller to do a little step up here. Now I'm going to go in there and punch some holes, get the backside primed, and then we'll weld her in the truck. So while I'm waiting on the weld through primer to dry, I'm going to be doing some finish welding, going from there all the way across. Then I'll also weld this seam, and then I also need to weld that seam. The weld through primer is dry. I've done welded all 3 seams. So we'll get this positioned in place, start burning it in.
And then obviously, what you do on one side, you got to do on the other. Plate is tied into the F100 cab, just tied into the square tubing, which is reinforcing the end of what was the Crown Vic floor pan. Weld seam nice and smooth. I will have to go back in here and grind that weld seam smooth. Got a little bit of little bitty holes down there, but this ain't no show truck, it's a shop truck, so it ain't got to be absolutely perfect. It ain't got to be absolutely perfect, but yeah. That's done. Got the inside capped up until right there. From there up, I will have to patch. They don't care if you're filming. They don't care. They don't care. Yeah, I'll patch that once I get the front clip off. I can get right in there to that. But check out this other side. Your boy, D-Mac, Dusty Mac. They're still laughing about blowing the horn. I'll get them back. That boy's burning that good over here. I'm burning that good, son. What I mean by that, check out these beads, son. Not sure if the GoPro does it justice. Obviously, it's not one continuous seam because when I fit this thing up, I did a tack weld about every inch and a half. I got that capped, got the bottom welded, got this patch piece made for the corner, got that tied in. Well, I got that spot welded in all the way up to the top. I have to finish weld that. I got that in place so that I don't burn none of this harness. And then now what I gotta do, don't mind that, that's just the insulation or whatever. I gotta go and weld the weld seam between the square tubing and the Crown Vic right here. I gotta weld that now. But yeah, I'm happy with those welds. I'm not sure if the GoPro does it justice. That's 10 gauge sheet metal tied into 10 gauge square tubing. So I can burn that hot heat right there. Down here I still had to do slow spot welds in little segments because this is 10 gauge tied into truck sheet metal. Running one continuous bead or even little inch beads. Take a risk of blowing through because the metal is 60-year-old metal on this thing. So yeah, it's tough. You'll think you have your settings dialed in. Try to run a little bead, even the smallest. You'll get to a spot that's, you know, the slightest bit weak or thin, you'll burn a hole through. So the best way to do it is like I did it on the bottom side, just tack. So what does that mean now? That means now I'm gonna have to make this thing look less like a truck temporarily. So I gotta rip the front clip, the hood off to where I can finish the firewall. Because before I was hopping in and out of the engine bay, it'd just be easier to rip this front off and then go to town. Supper is calling my name. I'm filthy. Time to lock up the shop, and we'll catch it again in the morning. Well, another day. What do you know? It's raining. That ain't gonna stop us.
brought it home, got it out the back of the truck. It was tons of work we had to do. Alright guys, that's where I'm going to call it on this week's video on the progress on my shop truck. As you guys can clearly see, the engine is behind me. A lot more progress has already been done. I just didn't show you guys the clips yet. Next week's episode is going to be awesome. Let me go out here right now and show you guys where we stand on the truck. And next week we also... I also have an awesome surprise. I reached out to a company and they supplied us with some parts that will speed up the build a little bit. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to show you guys where the truck stands right here. So I went back and primed the areas where we joined the cab of this to the firewall. Same way over here. Been joined. The firewall is completely welded to tie the cab into the Crown Vic. Like I said, I will come back with some seam sealer, and then I'll probably paint that whole entire firewall like a wrinkle black type look. Over here, after I welded all that, smoothed it, went back and primed it. Primed in there. Obviously, like I said a million times, we will go back with some seam sealer and seam again. I apologize if my voice still sounds kind of congested, and I also apologize for the cicadas. If you're not familiar with what a cicada is, bitty flying things that come out of the ground every so many years. You can still hear them. They're not quite as bad as they were in some of the clips earlier. But this side over here is welded. This seam, and that seam. I went ahead and primed that up there. We'll seam seal that. I do want to go back and smooth out these two edges. Right here, I will go back and smooth those two out, and that will need to be repaired at some point. Cut this out and put a little piece in there, and then we can prime that. But I mentioned in the beginning of the video that we got new rims. Those aren't going to be probably what's on the truck long term, simply because I'm building a wide body and I want the rims to be wider. But these will give me a little bit better inspiration than those the rims that came on the Crown Vic, because I'm going to end up with 17 or either 18-inch rims, which is what those are. Might get some spacers to space the rims out, that way I can build the wide body. The next video, the motor and transmission should be going in this thing. But once we get the motor and transmission in, I've already got the wiring harness, already got the computer flashed. That thing, I can't wait to hear what the cam sounds like in that motor. It's going to be awesome. It's going to have a chop to it. I want to get this thing running and driving, a drivable street truck. That way I can see if there's any kinks I need to work out or what have you. Then we can jump into building the wide body, building the hood, the over fenders, the rear diffuser, all that fun, cool looking, awesome stuff. But right now we got to finish the process that we have. And this is the first time I've grafted a friggin' cab bed front clip onto a completely different chassis, an 08 Crown Vic. Hopefully you guys are excited. Like I mentioned, most of the voiceover type stuff I did this weekend. A lot of the clips as far as the progress on the truck was filmed 2 weeks ago, before I really started feeling bad. I was out of work 3 days last week, which is like unheard of for me. I try to muscle through going in, but I had an allergic reaction to one of the medicines that I was given, so that threw a wrench in it too. But feeling on the up and up, even though I'm slightly still congested. But if you guys enjoyed the video, do me a favor, smash the like button. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to where you can stay tuned for the next video that we drop. But yeah, next video, motor and trans in. We can get the front clip back on, get some seam sealing done, maybe paint the firewall. So all that and more coming up in the next video, as well as showing you guys the parts for the company that we're working with, that they supplied, that will greatly help us put some pieces together and move this build along. So be looking out for that. Dusty Mac is signing out. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.